Countdown. Good morning. I was on mute. Here I was spouting off like genius stuff, and I'm on mute. How dare you? Morning, Josh. Thumbs up. All links.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell.
My heart starts to pound.
Daily stock pick trading.
I'm just, I was looking at Grab. They had earnings, and they're down about 6%. This was one that Amit loves. He's been pouring into it right at the 200-day. So I wouldn't put it past kind of bouncing up. The weekly doesn't look like super stretched, and you can see Golden Cross right there at $5.68. You're not even at the 50-day. So if that 200-day can kind of turn around, it might be a good thing. Morning, Josh, Wendy, Olga, Rusty, Jennifer. Strong sell to IBIT. I think that it's the momentum. Let's look at it. So yeah, you look at the momentum. 6 months ago, it was. Let me put this on Do Not Disturb. 6 months ago, it was A+. Now it's a D. And that's the big one that's moved because risk has actually come up. So that momentum factor will move it to a strong sell. Now, do I think it's a strong sell? I mean, I don't know. I do have and I'll put this in. So, while I'm kind of commenting on, copy link. This, paste. There's a link to a video, and I'll pull it up right here so everybody can see it. So it's from Bravos Research, which I actually follow. I like them.
Take a look at this chart.
And what they're talking about is gold versus Bitcoin. And they're predicting a big move for Bitcoin. Now, nobody knows if this is going to happen. You don't, 100%. Oh my God, is Bitcoin really going to follow gold? But it's an 8-minute video. It doesn't take a lot of your time. And the reality of this is they make a very compelling case. And it's the case I've made for IBIT and for Ethereum and things of that sort is the national debt. And I think a lot of these countries that are running fiat currency kind of manipulation, this makes sense. And the run in gold was no other thing than, hey, the national debt is at some point we're going to go bankrupt. And, is gold worthwhile if the U.S. is bankrupt? I don't know. Is the U.S. dollar worth anything if the U.S. is bankrupt? I don't know. Is Bitcoin worth anything if the U.S. is bankrupt? I don't know. Remember, I don't think you can trade Bitcoin and crypto in China. So if China becomes like the major power, Bitcoin's probably worthless, to be honest with you. But this video was great, and it's a really good video. So go and look at it. I mean, that's a good one. Yeah. But remember, and my thing is, for IBIT and other crypto ETFs, let me tell you. I mean, let's see. log in. Let's log into Fidelity so I can be completely transparent about this. I think I hold IBIT. Yeah, I hold it in my retirement account. So I think I have it in my other one too. General ledger, percent of account. Currently, IBIT is 3.1% of my retirement account. Ethereum is 0.76 of my retirement account. And I own, there's also Coinbase. Let me see. I must hold coin in my, let's see. Let's do all accounts. Oh, okay. Let me scroll down. Okay, I own BMNR, which is percent of account, 0.43% of my brokerage account. Coinbase is 0.51% of my brokerage account, and that seems to be all the crypto that I hold. So when you look at it, I'm under 10% of my total net worth in crypto. So while I'm down in crypto, I think I bet I might still be up on, it's under $60. I don't like it, but I've made the determination that this is just something that I'm going to buy and hold. And so I when something like this happens where it goes from a buy or to a strong sell, I look at those factors and I say, it's really just the momentum. And the momentum sucks. Take a look. 1 month down 13%. 6 months you're up 9%. 1 year you're up 53%. You go to 1 month, you go to 6 months. It's underperforming. And so for me, I don't think that that's a red flag signal. But I think it's just more of, hey, we may be heading into a very weak period. And some of the crypto folks that I follow say it's a very weak period. But that video I just showed you kind of tells me, hey, I want to hold it, but I don't want exposure. 10% of my portfolio, it's not going to zero. So say, for instance, I lose 50% of that. That's 5% of my portfolio. If I hold 10%, so it would be 5% down in the overall portfolio. It hurts, but is that something that's going to keep me up at night if I'm down 5%? No. Remember, I own Apple as 50% of my portfolio. And if you look at these monthly charts, I didn't sell the whole time when it was going down. This right here, this is 2008, 62%. We can look at this one from 2015 down to 2031% in a year. Again, I'm probably a little bit more risk tolerant. It may be stupid, but it's worked out. So I think it just depends on your risk tolerance, why you bought it, how you went into it. And again, the thesis. If the thesis changes on Bitcoin and it becomes bearish, then I change my strategy. And I've got to determine, okay, is this a loser and I'm just going to get out of it? I made that mistake before. I made that mistake with GBTC. I was, I think, down 20 or 30. I was down, I think it was like 50%, 60%, something like that. And it was a big position, and GBTC was just trying to become the disparity. There was a huge disparity in the price of Bitcoin and GBTC. It just became too great. And I was like, I'm just going to take this loss. I think I gave up within a year. It would have been a $400,000 or $500,000 gain. And I took a small loss on it. So, again, my experience is different than everybody else's experience. I don't do this podcast for financial advice. I do it to try and help you understand how I think about things, but that's how I think about it. I mean, you look at like Robinhood. You know, this was a great buy at 130 when it pumped up to 150. You know, it's down at 140 and we've got earnings tomorrow night. So is it extend? Oh, you damn well know this one's extended. And you look at Palantir today. A great Palantir, one of the greatest quarters that I've ever seen from a company that is overvalued, but shows just how good they are. And the stock is down 8.24%. So I think it's got a lot to do with, you know, you take a look at IBIT. This one's just 2 years old, I think, up 14% year to date, not quite beating the S&P. Well, 1 year you're up 60%, 58. So I'm not concerned about it. Something to keep on my radar, but again, the 6 months from now, I'll take a look and I'll redo it. I don't worry about that stuff day to day. And, you know, other people can call me stupid, call me dumb, but it's worked out in the long run. It always does that, Jacob. Morning, Lisa. So it's a good show today. I put together a good one. Daisy is fine, by the way. If you want to see, yesterday I put in, we'll go here. No, stop. That is Miss Daisy at the vet yesterday. My apologies to everybody. I was dealing with her. And that is Penny in the back of the car. Fucking Penny. Penny, somebody was walking their dog and this little bitch jumped out into the front. She knows she's not supposed to be in the front seat. She knows to stay in the hammock. And yeah. And by the way, so here's the, and if you didn't watch yesterday or something, $700 vet bill, you come home, dog's perfectly fine. I mean, they didn't do anything. They gave her some liquids and dog's fine. That's essentially what it is. So, and I did some alpha pick scalping yesterday. I will tell you the alpha pick, I won't bring it up. The alpha pick that I got yesterday, I badmouthed it on here. I was like, what the hell are they doing? It's a biopharma and I hate biopharma. And I bought a bunch of it. I bought so much of it yesterday that I paid for 5 years in just yesterday's gain. 5 years of alpha pick. So it's up. It's way up. I mean, they're just good. They're just really, really good. This is the gold silver correction. This was a great newsletter that I'm going to recommend for folks as well. And this is the Bitcoin going to shock everyone in 3 months. We'll look at that. That one's a good one. Tonight's earnings, AMD. And I'll kind of give you a look because there's something in the charts that's kind of giving us a look at AMD and we'll see if you see what I see. It's a weekly chart. Go and look at if you have Trendspider, go and look at a weekly chart of AMD and tell me where the MACD and the RSI are, what happened the last time they were at those levels. Go and look at it. So interesting. Spotfiy had earnings. They beat. I mean, it was a good quarter. They're up 2%. Larry, HIMS is up 3%. This was up like 10%. It's squeezed up. This is Uber. Uber beat earnings per share, outperforms on Q3 results, but guidance curbs investor enthusiasm. It's a $100 stock. It's down 8% in pre-market. I mean, that's part of what this is a buy the dip example. I just don't believe that their guidance is bad. Palantir, it boosts everything. Palantir did really well, and it's down 7%. This is just some crazy. Mike Alfred will go over, because he's the guy that kind of promoted Cypher for me, and I should have gotten into it because it was up 22% yesterday. It was crazy. Just the original post that I had posted in the newsletter from him. He's been more right than wrong on a lot of this stuff. We will look at Fiserv crash, 5 popular stocks with quant sell ratings, because that's it, just a warning. I mean, it was just a lesson as to why the quant is so good with that stuff. And again, you should take a listen to quant. The biggest stock movers, the Upwork is up 22%. That's just crazy to me. Crazy. Did really well. This is a good lesson on, hey, what's going on? Could we be in a bubble? Maybe, because OpenAI is pretty much running things. The NASDAQ fell sharply. The Dow fell sharply. We'll go over this. We will go over, Michael Burry is pointing out, hey, he's got puts on Palantir and NVIDIA. He's doing really well today. Let me just tell you, really, really well. We will go over this article. Cantor Fitzgerald sees year-end rally as AI earnings drive the market momentum. Tom Lee yesterday was on CNBC, and this is a video of Tom explaining that the S&P will run to 7,500, and Bitcoin's going to run to 150, and Ethereum's going to run to 8,000, and just Tom Lee being Tom Lee. So we'll talk about, and let's just pull up the Alpha Pick Scalping on the newsletter. Oh, why is now Substack's being annoying? There we go. Oof. What are my alerts? Do I have people commenting? No. Okay. And I did, by the way, in this November watch list, if you go to that and you're a paid customer, just full disclosure, Sunday I was busy running around. Dog was sick. I was trying to get to watching football. I forgot to post a screenshot of the November watch list. So I updated that with a screenshot so you can set it up. It's a long watch list. It is. I wasn't happy about putting them all on there, but I have reasons for every one of them being on there. So, and I give those reasons. So it's good to pull out 4 or 5, throw them on a watch list, see that you have them. That's what I do during the month is I go back and I look. And wow, we've got a lot of red on the screen. You're going to be way down today if you are in the Mag 7. Hood is down 4%. IBIT's down 2%. Meta's down 1%. Meta is at $630. FYI, I bought at $664, I think was my. I didn't wait for the 4-hour algorithm. I will wait for the 4-hour algorithm again, but I'll be buying this dip. I mean, seriously, I'm just going to be buying that dip. And I did get an alert, by the way, on DPST that I didn't take because I'm just not sure of those regional banks. Do we have a cockroach in the banking system? I don't know. Maybe. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Okay, but that is going to be the show. So it's going to be a lot. But there's a lot going in the market. So hit the thumbs up button if you haven't, if you're not subscribed. I think what's crazy is only 20% of the people that tune into the live show are actually subscribed to the channel. At some point, I have to go over, okay, if you want to join me live, go on YouTube. If you want to just listen to it, go on Spotify. If you want to, join Apple Podcast, it doesn't have video. If you want to see the notes, here's the newsletter. Here's how you use it. At some point, I have to do a video like that where I just go over everything. Because there are 2 videos that come out on YouTube every day. It's the live one where I do this kind of interaction. And then there's the actual podcast one. So You know, it's the condensed version. I try and keep it between like 30 and 50 minutes. So, yeah, all the Bitcoin ETFs went to strong sell. I think Bitcoin as a whole went to a strong sell. And it's the momentum, if you look at it. And that's the key, is take a look at those factors against 6 months ago when it was a buy. And just, yeah. I know. I don't get it. You know, it's funny because what do I have? 20, 30,000 followers on Spotfiy. And I get a lot of listens on Spotfiy every day. But only 30% of the Spotfiy listeners are following. So it gives you an idea of just, you know, I liken it to, I think I'm very organized in my portfolio, in my watch list, in my way of doing things. I have a routine that I like to have every day. And, you know, again, following things. I think there's a lot of people that are just, so I used to manage I used to be the marketing manager for Northeast Florida for Time Warner Cable. And I remember I used to, every week I would go on what's called a ride along with people and with installers. And sometimes they'd make me crawl under freaking crawl spaces and, you know, hey, let's take the big guy out and let's, you know, make him do some actual work kind of thing. And it was, you know, it was good morale boosting for some of the guys for stuff like that. But mostly what I did for was to interview the customers and, hey, how'd you hear about us? What made you buy? Blah, 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 that whole thing. But the most shocking thing that I found out was just the way that people live. And, you know, my girlfriend will tell you, I'm obsessed with cleanliness and order and neatness. And, you know, I constantly mock her for leaving cabinet doors open, leaving lights on and stuff like that. I mean, you know, she's adorable, but come on. But I am obsessive, and it's not easy to live with. It's not an easy way to live, but I always view, I'm a minimalist, so I like getting rid of things. I don't like having things around. I very much, I like in my house to, if you have a clean house, you have a clean mind, because there's not a lot of things to think about. And that's what you find with minimalism, is when you don't have a lot of things to think about, you can actually think about the things that matter. And I see how people lived. And I remember this one trailer. It was a double wide that we went into. Very nice older couple and a very nice double wide. But I remember specifically over the recliner that where we were installing the cable TV, there was a yellow ring where the guy smoked his cigarettes, and it had gone through the ceiling of the double wide, and he had put up a piece of plastic to just not have water coming in. And water started coming in, and then they, rather than fixing it, they ordered cable TV. And I mean, just the decisions of kind of, it just made me think, okay, I just live differently than other people. So, and yeah, Larry, exactly. No, you didn't sleep through anything, Olga. It's just the momentum. That's all it is. Yeah, and Lisa, I mean, if you haven't done a deep dive into minimalism, I would tell you to do it, because while you don't have to go full minimalist, and I'm not a full minimalist. I mean, I have tons of junk still in this house. But making that first move to, okay, realizing I have too much stuff, because most people in this world, specifically in this country, have too much stuff. You know, my dogs have too much stuff. They don't need 40 different toys, even though they have them. Yeah, the ride-alongs, I mean, I think some people looked at the ride-alongs as a punishment sometimes that, you know, I know when I first got there and I implemented that activity where the entire senior management staff would go on a ride-along once a month. And most of the staff thought I was crazy. But that team meeting afterwards, after 2 or 3 months of people saying, yeah, I didn't have time to do it and blah, 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 it was good feedback. I mean, it's the best way to run a business. You can't run a business without knowing what's going on with your customers. You know, again, it's part of the reason why I think the podcast is successful. I listen to people when they have constructive criticism, but I don't when you have unconstructive criticism, in that if you tell me all I'm doing is selling, you're not listening to the podcast, and you're not understanding that the purpose of this podcast is not for you. It's really the way I do things. And if the way I do things can help somebody, then it's good. If it can't, quietly leave. And I know people may think that, you know, hey, this is a new show and I get my stock picks from, nah, it isn't what it is. Yeah, minimalism with kids is tough. Although I will tell you that the minimalist friends that I have who have kids and have raised them that way, the kids tend to adopt that pretty quickly. So, but you know, I often look at it this way. I didn't grow up with an iPad. I didn't grow up with, you know, I didn't even grow up with a freaking video game system. I used to have to go to my friend's house to play video games. Oh, Center City, Philly. Oh. The parking alone, Bob, would drive me to actually retire. But, okay, let me start going over this. I'm going to hit record. Where am I? I'm on QQQ. Okay. Good morning. It is Tuesday, November 4th. It is election day. It is election day. Just so you're aware, go out and vote. You know, do your civic duty because you're supposed to and you want to. The reality is that, you know, here in Georgia, we get to vote for the Power Utility Commission, and I went out and did early voting. And I'm proud and happy that I did it because hopefully we get some remedy from our obsessive and intrusive power rates that, you know, Georgia Power continues to do it. We got Alpha Pick Scalping. I got a reminder for you about Black Friday sales, market rally. Is this going to rally? Because I'll tell you, Michael Burry is telling you to sell again. We'll just go over the last time he did that. Maybe not the right thing. Quant ratings, they're never perfect. And Steve Kress is giving you 5 stocks that have a sell and an example of it. The Bitcoin miners are turning into power companies. We saw it with Cypher yesterday, 22%. We'll go over some stuff. And then we'll go over earnings because we've got Palantir, HIMS, Uber. We got AMD tonight, Spotfiy. So there's a lot that's going on. Here's the market. This is a 4-hour look at QQQ. And we'll even take it out of the 4-hour algorithm and just show you a daily. And see that green line? That is a weekly trend line that I drew from COVID. So I've had this up for a long time. The indicators do seem stretched on the weekly chart, but you're in a bull market until you're not. So as we see today, the market's pulling back 1.53%. Your portfolio may be down. You may be down a significant amount, like me. I'm sure I will open up and I will be shocked at the amount that I lose, probably more than I ever made a year. But the reality is we haven't broken a trend. So for me, I'm just looking at it as just a down day. My thanks, by the way, for yesterday, because yesterday I posted this. I posted a little late yesterday. And it was because this little one was at the vet. And there's Penny in the back of the car, but everything's fine. Everything's good. I did post yesterday. I was on at noon and I went for an alpha scalp because we got a new alpha pick. And if you don't know what alpha picks is, it is a data driven portfolio. That 251 only goes through October 16th. So I haven't put up a graphic here, but that 251 I think is like 260, 270 right now. I'm not exactly sure. But during the same, it outperforms the S&P. You get alerts when to sell the stocks. You get stocks that pick multiple sectors. And yesterday's alpha pick stock, I bought a bunch. And I ranted how bad it was and how bad I felt like 2 minutes after I bought it. It's a biopharma stock, which I'm never a huge fan of. And I didn't like that I bought so much. I felt guilty. I was like, why did I do that? You'll see my reaction if you watch this live. Okay. Now, it was pointed out to me by a listener that Joe Terranova, who is the manager of the Joe T ETF, which is always on CNBC, that he bought this same stock a little while ago. Okay. I was upset. I didn't like it. But FYI, at the end of the day, I was up, the stock was up 8%, and it was up another 3% after hours. Again, even though the market's down today, this particular stock is up in pre-market the last time I checked it. I'll probably trim as it starts to turn down a little, but I got a little ahead of my skis, and that's a good lesson for everybody, okay? I got lucky on this one. I don't like biopharma. The amount I made on this particular buy would have paid for Alpha Picks for 5 years. That's how good this particular stock reacted. And it wasn't reacting from Alpha Picks. The reason it was reacting is it's a quality stock. So this strategy of Alpha Pick scalping, it's worked. Sometimes you get lucky when you buy, but the point I'm trying to make is when you buy a quality stock, you have a much better chance of making a profit. And one Alpha Pick stock reported earnings yesterday. The stock is up 135% in 6 months and 12% in the last month. They beat on earnings per share, and revenue was up 4% yesterday. It is up another 3%. Again, a good quality stock. This is a second stock. Remember, Alpha Picks is more than just a buy now and sell now portfolio if you want to do it. It's a list of stocks that you can trade based on solid fundamentals. In fact, they have 4 stocks that are up 200% or more over the last 6 months. 2 stocks that I've mentioned recently that got huge pullbacks, and you can go and read the newsletter. They are in there. I'm not going to bring them up right now, but they were up 5% and 6% yesterday. And Steve Kress wrote to the Alpha Picks subscribers and said, hey, even though these are down big, the fundamentals are still there. These are quality stocks with fundamentals that are still good. 14 stocks yesterday were up more than 1%. 7 of the stocks in the portfolio were up more than 3% yesterday. So again, if you want Alpha Picks, it is available on Linktree, okay? But let me give you a reminder, okay? Any of the tools that I sell, okay? That includes Trendspider. That includes this Premium and Alpha Picks bundle. That includes Seeking Alpha Pro, which you can get for $99 for the first month. That includes Seeking Alpha Premium, which you get a free 7-day trial on. That includes Alpha Picks. All of these will have Black Friday sales. They will. So I want to give you a little tip. You may have a smaller portfolio and you may say, hey, I don't know if I really, can afford to buy these. Put them on a holiday wish list. Any of the tools on my Linktree, go and put them on a holiday wish list. You may not have a large account, but that may not matter if you can get a loved one to buy you these tools instead of underwear. They're more expensive than underwear, but maybe they don't buy you underwear and socks this year. Maybe they get you Alpha Picks. And you can learn about a data-driven portfolio and a rules-based portfolio. So again, put them on your list. Would I go out and buy them today? If you just want to go out and buy it today, that's your thing. Again, it's not going to save you 50, 60, 70%, but these are good Black Friday deals. I don't know the details of them. I don't know when they start, but they will have Black Friday sales. My idea is just put them on a watch list for your holiday treats. Instead of getting an Xbox, get Alpha Picks. Now let's talk about the market rally. Okay. Overnight, the market sell-off hit Asia, spread to Europe. And now in the pre-market, we're down. QQQ's down 1.56%. The Dow is down, all of that. You're seeing some of the laggards like Palantir. Okay. Palantir reported great earnings. We'll go over them. It's down 8%. But when you look at Palantir year to date, what did it start the year at? $70. You're at $207 it closed at yesterday. So again, it ran. Look at UNH. This is one that has had a crazy, crazy run since Warren Buffett. Again, 4-hour algorithm got you in there at 246. The 4-hour algorithm got you out with a 40% gain. But this is pulling back, and I put these yellow lines. You'll see these yellow lines. These are my identifications of support and resistance. On every stock chart that I follow, I usually put in these lines. Where's the support here? 316. Where's it trading right now? 326. It's down 2% in the pre-market. Will it hit 316? Maybe. If it bounces off that old resistance, which is right here and right here in September, turns to new support. It's a fundamentally decent stock. And what we're seeing with earnings, this has already gone through earnings, but what we're seeing with earnings, typically, historically, a beat and raise is met with huge gains. This quarter, stocks aren't popping like they normally do. It doesn't seem like the market is weak. It's just exhausted. Because again, when you look at this, we've just been going up and up. Tom Lee said on CNBC yesterday, this is his clip, Tom Lee called for the S&P to get it to 7,500. FYI, it's at 6,800. He called for Bitcoin to get to 150,000. FYI, it's at like 100,000. He called for Ethereum to get to over 7,000. FYI, it's at 3,800. He's crazy, but is a rally around the corner. He's been more right than wrong. And so you look at Cantor Fitzgerald, sees year-end rally as AI earnings drives the market momentum. And I'm going to read you a quote from this article. The investment bank also highlighted the powerful tailwinds stemming from the ongoing build-out of artificial intelligence infrastructure, describing it as a historic technological transformation that is injecting significant capital into the economy. Despite elevated valuations compared to historical averages, the firm believes that the robust revenue and earnings growth, AI-driven productivity gains, expanding margins, and easing interest rates will continue to underpin the possibly extend the market valuations into 2026. So you're in a bull market until you're not. That's essentially the overview that Cantor Fitzgerald gives. Again, are you buying, say you've got $10,000, okay? Say you don't go balls deep. You don't buy $10,000 worth of QQQ today. Stick the tip in. Get $1,000 worth of it on a little dip. Just the tip. And to give you an alternate view, okay? Michael Burry, the guy, if you haven't watched The Big Short, go and watch The Big Short. Michael Burry is betting against Palantir and NVIDIA. And we just went over, Palantir reported a record earnings, but they're down 8%. Michael Burry's doing fantastic. NVIDIA, down like 2%. He's probably doing decent. 80% of his portfolio is betting against Palantir and NVIDIA. But I want to just remind you, and I'm going to put this screenshot in the newsletter, okay? Michael Burry, on January 31st, 2023, posted on Twitter, sell. January 2023. Let's go and look at just a monthly chart, and we'll pull up January 2023. January 2023 was right here, okay? January 2020 saw a 10% monthly increase. February saw a 0.2 decrease, okay? March saw a 10% increase. The initial tweet, he deleted it. The follow-up 2 months later, Burry posted again, I was wrong to say sell, and he congratulated those who bought the dip. At the time of the sell tweet, the NASDAQ 100 had entered a bull market, so he timed it exactly opposite. Just be aware of that before you go in. And again, this is an article that explains everything. So if you want more details, you can go and look at them. But don't listen to a douche on the internet. Understand you need to take the fundamentals and the technicals of these things. This was clear, by the way. He was saying, oh, we're going to go back down. Well, the Fed wasn't, they were starting to ease. They weren't starting to raise again. They were starting to ease. Look at the MACD down there. Look at the RSI coming off of levels. We're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. So again, use your technicals and your fundamentals. Now, the NASDAQ futures sell off sharply as the AI tech-driven rally loses steam. That's the headline. It's the headline. Today, Palantir results, the market has started out weak. You have AMD, Shopify, and Uber, among others, that will release their results. Again, we'll go over earnings and stuff like that, but I want to point this out. And Kobeshi Letter points this out. OpenAI now has signed a $500 billion Stargate deal, $100 billion NVIDIA deal, $100 billion AMD deal, $38 billion Amazon deal, $25 billion Intel deal, $20 billion Taiwan Semi deal, $13 billion Microsoft deal, $10 billion Oracle deal, signed multi-billion dollar Broadcom deal, launched a browser, became the world's most valuable private company, and is considering a $1 trillion IPO. That's one company that is driving a lot of this market. Does it mean that you're in a bubble? Not necessarily. Again, a lot of people are pointing out we are in the midst of a generational technological revolution. So where do you turn? Well, maybe it's the quant. Maybe it's the quant. We're seeing the big movers, Upwork. We're seeing the big losers, Sarepta, Hive, Palantir. But maybe it's the quant because Fiserv, if you don't remember, Fiserv was a warning. This was down 50% in a day. Right after it was the quant pointed it as a strong sell. Okay? Strong sell at 64. It was a sell. Let's move back. At 137, where is it today? 65. It went to a sell at 137. Where is it today? 65. So maybe you want to pay attention because Steve goes over 5 popular stocks with quant sell ratings. Again, you want to take a look at the tools that you have. All of these stocks are, it's not just about making picks. It's about also protecting your capital, making sure that if fundamentals and technicals break down, as you see in a raging bull market sometimes, you can get out. So if your stock, say you have Chipotle, say you were like, well, I eat a burrito every freaking day. I should have this. And back in July, you were at 56. And today you're at 31. Well, where did it go to a sell? It went at 41. That's a big move from 41 to 31. Nothing is perfect. So it doesn't mean that this won't bounce because you can see Wall Street says it's a buy. What's Wall Street's price target? 44. And they've been chasing it down. You can see from this chart. So again, find a tool that works for you, but understand you need fundamentals and you need technicals. If the two don't mix, then maybe it's a trade, not an investment. Now I want to go over this one because I pointed out this was an original tweet from Mike Alfred, okay? This was October 28th, just last week. Quick friendly reminder, Cipher is likely to announce an AI co-location deal for all of Black Pearl's 300 megawatts before Thanksgiving. This is a massive deal. I put this in the newsletter. Now, do I own Cipher? No. I put it in the newsletter. I didn't take this trade. Why? Because I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in Nebius and in IREN. I didn't feel like putting more money into a Cipher, which is kind of the same thing. But I saw this and I said, you know what? It is something to keep on my watch list. I thought I had plenty of time. I didn't because Cipher Mining yesterday, it jumped 15-year lease with AWS. It was up 22%. Now, again, let's look at some of the fundamentals and some of the technicals. Technically, the 4-hour algorithm had you at $20. Yesterday, it pumped all the way to $25 during the market. That would have been a nice get. And you had the MACD at a level. That was fine. The RSI going into earnings, it was at 49 in no man's land. But you can see on a weekly chart, it seems a little stretched. But you had a nice little pop again with the 4-hour algorithm. Got you in at 20. I had pointed out that, hey, the support is probably at 15. Well, if we see this pull back to 15, expect me to start adding to it. Because Mike Alfred, if you've gotten shaken out of the CIFR by the shorts, quants, and on that soft and obvious fake move to 2102, because it went nuts yesterday. It had volatility. It had volatility. It went all the way down to 2102. And Mike's pointing out, if you got out, you're not in this for the long haul. You're trading it. So identify before you buy it, whether it's a trade, whether it's an investment. Because a lot of these things can move exactly like that. And Mike's giving you the guidance. He's saying this stock is going to $30 to $50 in the short term and $100 in the long term. And he's been more right than wrong. I like his stuff. So if you're on Twitter, follow him. Now let's go over Palantir. This was the biggest duh in the market. We knew Karp was going to come out and kill it. The stock's reaction was interesting. It was up 10% on the news. Let's just go and look at a 5-minute chart after hours. Look at that. We can go and look at a 1 minute because the 1 minute even shows you that you had time to actually get this yesterday. We'll look at this one. You had time to get this yesterday, but after that, you didn't have time. It just started beating down. Now, Karp said after hours, he said, hey, this was our best quarter. The pullback is nothing more than just a pullback. This isn't one that, oh my God, the market's giving up on it. Let's go and look at Palantir. The fundamentals of this one. It's expensive, but it's up 173% year to date. It's up 400% in 1 year. And you're worried about an 8% pullback? Now, can it move even more? Dan Ives said this is a $1 trillion market cap company. Its market cap today, $491 billion. That means it could double from here, according to Dan Ives. The valuation makes no sense. Retail folks, they're holding. Traders will trade it. I just think larger institutions are fine taking profits and holding this as part of the S&P rather than a single stock. And you can see Wall Street only has a $174 price target on this one. They'll raise it. That quarter was so good. What's my guidance on this one? If you can get it under 200, Karp is a legend. It was the best quarter that they had. Again, if you can get this under 200, I think it's a $200 stock. If you can buy this at 190 and make an easy 5%, you may go back to 150. Again, point out your levels. Find levels in this one. Mine is 160. If that pulls back to 160 on the 200-day right there, I'm in. That might make me actually get it. That would be under the 50-day, which, by the way, has been a great time to buy this one. So again, mix the fundamentals with the technicals. And Uber beat earnings per share and revenue this morning. And they announced a $20 billion buyback. Okay, it's down 7% at $92. And you can see Uber outperforms on Q3, but guidance curbs investors' enthusiasm. Now let's look at the technicals of this one. Does this one make sense? Because the fundamentals all make sense. Again, it was just the guidance. It's priced to perfection. If this gets down to the 80s, I will be buying a ton. I already own 5 figures of this. I think it's low 5 figures. I don't think it's much. I own it as part of the Alpha Picks portfolio, but I also own a personal amount. Down 7%, not going to be easy for me to live with. 4-hour algorithm had me in at 92. Probably gets you out here with some type of maybe a loss, maybe a gain. Who knows what the future holds? But the 4-hour algorithm makes you 88%. Buying and holding makes you 134%. I buy and hold this one. I have it over a year. I think I'm up like 111% on this. It's a $100 stock. This is simply a stock. If you want to go and look at the fundamentals of this one, they haven't changed. Your valuation, it's a D+. The reason? Because it's gotten more expensive than 6 months ago. Over 6 months, you're up 16%. But the growth hasn't changed. The profitability hasn't changed. The momentum got a little bit worse because it's bumping up against that valuation. Now, revisions, it's a B-. There's 14 people to bring in their earnings per share. They just beat. Nobody's bringing their revenue down. This is simply a stock that has run quite a bit with some profit taking as the valuation has grown a little extended. But the growth in the company is what's key. If you look at this rating, the growth at an 8%, they're growing 18% year over year. Earnings per share up 545%. The quant says this is number 2 out of 8. What's number 1? It's Lyft. It's got a better quant score. Its valuation's still stretched. But personally, Lyft for me is an afterthought. When I go out there and I need a ride, I try Uber. It's expensive. When there's something else, I find Uber too expensive, I may go to Lyft. And Waymo is a distant third if you're thinking about that. But FYI, you can get Waymo here in Atlanta through Uber. So Uber is the winner in the passenger ground transportation for me. Again, for me. I think it's a $100 stock, and I will continue to add to it on the dips. I like it. Now, HIMS, let's talk about boner pills. This squeezed up as it missed an earnings per share but beat on revenue, but that didn't matter. What matters is that they're in discussions with Novo Nordisk to sell Wegovy. Now, this is an expensive stock. The valuation sucks because they're not actually making a profit. Okay, but their growth is 88% revenue growth year over year. Profitability, 76% gross profit margin. Momentum, fantastic, except for the last 3 months. So have we turned to a downturn on this one? Well, the reaction to earnings was actually very good. If we go and look at the after hours and that grit shading, you can see the reaction to the earnings was really good. It pushed all the way up to 48. And right now you're trading at 45. Now, what does the 4-hour algorithm do? Well, the 4-hour algorithm, it makes you 202%. Buying and holding makes you 631%. I have put these levels in. Okay, that $25 was old, but it's there, and it's just back in April. If you bought in April at 25, you pumped all the way up to that 63, and you've hit that 63 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times since April. It's clear. It's a pumper up there. So if you want to buy at 45, I think you hit 50 when this deal with Novo Nordisk comes into play. Again, Hims and Hers in discussions with Novo Nordisk to sell Wegovy. That's what's keeping this stock up. They took their own little boner pill. And they said, our earnings suck. Let's take a little Viagra. Let's pump our stock up a little bit. That's what they're doing. But expect that to pump back to that. And it's not, for me, this would not be an investment, even though for many people it is. For me, this would be an obvious trade. Now, many of you, the majority of people that listen to my podcast, listen on Spotfiy. They killed it on earnings. Upbeat forecast. Along with strong Q3 subs and results, it lifts shares. It's now down. Why? The valuation is stretched. Again, they're not making money. For me, Netflix is a better stock to buy than Spotfiy. Why? Because they have better fundamentals. You're paying the PE forward 103 times. The PEG is 2.18. That's too expensive, even though the growth is phenomenal. But again, it's just expensive. But Spotify's great. They pay me a lot of money every month. I love it. I love it. They allow me to talk to you. So it's a good company. But at some point, a good company even has to come down because that growth, you're seeing this one. If we go and look at the year to date, up 43%, 1 year, 70%, 6 months, it's only up 1%. 1 month, you're down 8%. So if you look at the momentum, it's a B, but I would argue this isn't a B. It's only a B because of the long term, not the short term. You go back to, April 24th, you're trading where you're at today. So again, you've made a full round trip. That's 617. That's an old support that I drew in there. Where is that from? Well, it's from this previous high back in February where it's pulled back to. And again, with a lot of these companies that have soared and their valuations don't make sense, go and find a previous high where it pulled back. Put in a yellow line in your chart. And if you don't have that ability to do it, get Trendspider. Put it on your Christmas list. Now tonight we have AMD. Intel and AMD, they rose due to AI demand from a report yesterday. AMD was up 1.38%. Okay? Does it make fundamental sense for AMD? Well, it's a hold in the quant. Why? Because of valuation. Okay? And I will tell you, based on forward numbers, AMD right here, 65.87 on the PE. Let's just pull up NVIDIA. We'll pull up NVIDIA versus AMD. NVIDIA on valuation, it's 45. So who do you want, the leader or the second place? Because again, it's very similar. 65 on AMD, 45 on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is cheaper. And let's go look at the technicals of AMD, okay? 4-hour algorithm got you in, and I got in at that 160. You're up over 60%. Great buy. You closed at 259 yesterday. You are down 3% at 250. Where are you pulling back to? Well, I would argue if we see a pullback, the first base would be 227. Am I selling? Maybe on the 4-hour algorithm. I will sell. I have to make my determination, but today's earnings are exactly where I will make that determination. This could pull back all the way to that 160. We've got a gap here from 167 to 202. That was the OpenAI partnership. Now, I want to point out something to you, because when I pull up a weekly chart and I look at this, do you see something? Does anything stand out to you about the MACD and the RSI? Look at the last time they were here. I'm not going to point this out to you. I want you to do some homework. Because if you own AMD, you should absolutely know this. The last time the MACD was where it was at, the last time the RSI was where it's at, what did the stock price do? Does that give you an idea of what's going to happen with earnings? Because it does with me. And it concerns me. So take a look at the last time the MACD and the RSI were here. That's all I'm going to give you. Remember, based on forward numbers, AMD is actually much more expensive than NVIDIA. And NVIDIA's got a bigger partnership with OpenAI, bigger partnership with Amazon, bigger partnership with Microsoft. So again, take a look at that. Now, I'm going to tell you tonight's earnings. You know, we've got tonight AMD. We've got Supermicro. We've got Aristanet Networks. We've got Hamid's favorite. We've got Rivian. We've got Pelosi buy, TEM. Shy loves AXON. This is peak earnings season. This is a great time to make some money, but it's also a very fearful time where if you don't come in at the right price, you're going to get killed. You've got AppLovin tomorrow. You've got Hood tomorrow. You've got Qualcomm, IONQ, Duolingo, Fortinet, Elf, Joby, Dash, EOSE. You've got a lot of things going on. Understand where your stocks are that you've bought into. Now, I want to play a video because it was brought up that IBIT in the quant has moved to a sell. Is that something to be concerned about? Well, this video from Bravos Research, it's 8 minutes. If you've got any investment in crypto, I want you to take a look at this video. It's 8 minutes of your time. The video shows the hypothesis. I'm in for it. Okay, the hypothesis basically is that, hey, gold has gone on a run. Bitcoin most likely will follow that run. We are at a key point in time. Tom Lee thinks that Bitcoin is going to run to 150 by the end of the year. Watch this video and then go and look at this newsletter, because this particular newsletter, worried about the gold silver correction? Don't be. It's just here. This guy, he studies gold. He studies gold. His thing, Gold Bug, crisis investor, author or co-author of 5 books on investing, founder and editor of Dollar Collapse. So he goes over it. Now, understand, gold people have not been my friend. They have not been people I've listened to, but this gives you a good look at gold. And we've gone on a bull run on gold. It might not be over. So you may see a parabolic move on something like Bitcoin and gold at the same time. So if you've got any questions, again, I'm always here to answer any questions. But remember, this podcast is about my look at things, not your look at things. You need to develop your own skills. You need to make your own mistakes. You need to understand the stocks that you own. We are in a bull market until we're not. I am not saying that this is the end of the bull market. We haven't even seen a downturn of the 50-day or the 200-day yet. But it might concern some people if we start to go into a downturn. Understand what you hold, understand where your bottom is, understand where you want to sell, understand where you want to buy. Those are the tools that I have available for you. It's Trendspider, and it's premium and alpha picks from Seeking Alpha. It's the bundle. Those are the only 2 things that you buy. Put them on your wish list. We talk about, putting together your watch list. This is your wish list. This is for Christmas. Wait until the Black Friday sales and go and get the tools. Understand, this is your year. Next year, it's going to be harder than this year. 2023 was tough because 2022 was a down year. You didn't know that 2023 was going to be really good. And then at the beginning of 2023, everybody said, oh, you can't have 2 years in a row that's good. 2024 wound up killing it. It's good. Just go and look at a yearly chart of QQQ. Again, my point on this is, if you look at this yearly chart, 2022, you were down 33%. And they said 2023, there's no way it's going to be good. It was up 52%. That doesn't include the intra-year. That's just from start to finish. And at 52%, they said, no way 2024 is going to be good. 2024 was up 25%. And they said 75% in 2 years. There's no way 2025 can be good. And boom, we're up 20% year to date on this candle. So do we come back down? Maybe. Again, it is a very stretched market. Doesn't feel comfortable for anybody. I'm questioning myself every day. Should I sell out? Should I get to more safety? I manage my parents' My parents are 80 years old. Their portfolio invested just like mine. Probably not the right thing to do, but we're in a bull market. And they're thankful for it over the last 6 months. That's when I started getting them into this. They have significantly increased their portfolio over the last 6 months. And again, am I pulling out? No. I am simply watching the charts. And that's what I'm trying to teach people, is the way that I look at things is both a fundamental standpoint and a technical standpoint. And I think that's going to protect me when we start to go through this downturn. 2022, I didn't earn money, but I didn't lose 33%. So again, if you have any questions, if you need answers for anything, I'm here. I'm just not going to give you financial advice, but get the tools that I use because I show you how to use them every day. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Boom. What do you think Burry's right about, Meat Stick? You think he's right about sell in 2023? Just to be perfectly honest, and you go and look at his returns, he hasn't done well. He had one fantastic year that made him a billionaire. The rest of the guys in the Big Short, by the way, they are significantly outperforming. Burry's just not. Burry was. What's wrong? Hold on. What's wrong? Oh, she took your bed? Are you back to normal? She just took your bed. Okay. There you go. Daisy's back to normal. Oh. Oh. Why does it go to my crotch? The hell's that about? I like Burry. I think Burry is incredibly intelligent. But am I watching his market direction? I think he's like Jim Cramer. He knows exactly what he's talking about. But as a stock picker, I've seen better. But I'm also not a bear at all.
Good morning.
And there is no way I could ever make a bear feel comfortable in a market like this. So, but the history of the market is more up than down. And my assumption is, I gotta do new graphics. Export file. We will do this. Save. Tom Lee Aaron says bye. Burry is right. Just bad timing per usual. Oh. What's up, Sean? $0.20 to the dollar. The New Jersey race I heard was really close, which is shocking to me with the amount of commercials that they're running. The Democrats are running commercials because the Republican guy at one point in time, and it is out of context. I mean, it's dirty on both sides. But you see every commercial that I saw was 10% tax on everything, clothing, bikes, whatever, 10% on everything. And honestly, I'd probably vote Democrat in that race. Let's be honest. I think the last Republican they had, Chris Christie, wasn't that great for the state. Wow, Simon Property Group up 3% after their earnings. That's a standout. Costco holding up. Walmart's holding up. But wow, the market's really kind of going down. Let's see. Let's see if I'm down six figures. That will hurt. No. Wow. I'm only down 0.86%. Why is that? Oh, Apple's even. Look at that. Son of a bitch. So the market's down 1.4%. I'm only down 0.8. Alpha Pix is down 2.46%. I have some work in that portfolio to do. So. Okay. I am out of here. You guys have a great day. I got it. By the way, today's thumbnail, if you want to see it, I did it beforehand because I was up early. Let's see. Your designs. That's today's thumbnail with all the logos and stuff. So, what's your overall opinion on biotech? I hate it, Bob. If you watched the live yesterday with this, you'll get my theories on it. I just don't like it. And part of it is I just don't know it. I just don't know it. And it's hard for me to get excited about an alpha pick that's outside of tech. Gold, I understand. I don't like it, but I understand it. And I saw the thing. This particular one, I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense, but so I'm not a big fan of it. But you can make a lot of money in it too. And look at ARCG, genomics. That was a pick from the October watch list, which saw it run. I put that in October 1st. And so you can see October 1st, it was trading at about $28. And it ran up to, let's see, $34. 4-hour algorithm got you out at $30. So a nice 10% gain by the end of the month, even if you just listen to the 4-hour algorithm. And I'd probably be looking at this one again, because on the weekly, you're getting up towards the 200-day. If you can provide a support at 30 and that 200-day starts and you get that golden cross and the 200-day starts to cross up, that's a little bit extended. But, you know, you look at this one long term, look at that. I mean, again, if you bought way back here in 2018, which I owned it in 2018, I think I sold somewhere around here. I think I sold in 2021. So I think it was around 80 or something. I took a nice gain on it, but yeah. GNOM. I don't know. GNOM doesn't come up. But again, I mean, it's yesterday's live podcast, I think, is a perfect example of when you buy something and you don't know it, you don't feel comfortable. And I just don't. And so the psychology of looking at it afterwards, I watched it afterwards, and I was like, even though I made money, I just don't feel comfortable. And so I'll probably get out of that one, take some profits, whack it back down to 1% and take the gains and throw it over to another one that's winning. Something like AppLovin that's gotten a pullback, right before earnings. So, okay, I'm out. See you guys.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading.
Let me just answer real quick. Let me go back here. Joanna, I did not end up decreasing my holding on it yesterday. I wound up just holding it. It's not life-changing money for me. That was the first thing. So even if it went to zero, I'm not risking enough that, it's going to be a bad thing. I'm down more today than I risk, in my portfolio than I risked on that one yesterday. And it was up in pre-market. So I don't exactly know what it's doing right now. Let's see, I'll pull it up. I will tell you my exact gain on it. Actually, I can pull it up right here. Portfolio, and then, yeah, it's up today. It's up 0.03. I am up a total of 5.44. I was up like 8%. 5.44, yeah. So I've made at least, that's 3 years of alpha picks. Dollar amount, 4 years. So it's not life-changing money. It's very little. So hopefully that helps. Okay, now I'm out.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking trading bell.